So today, so today we're shooting film. If you haven't shot film before, this will be a good introduction. We're shooting 3 different formats and 3 different cameras. So the first one we're starting with is 35mm. It's the standard film. If someone says they're shooting film, 90% of the time this is what it's going to be. It gives you anywhere between 24 and 36 shots in a roll, and a roll goes for about $5 to $12 or so. With any film, you got a variety of black and white, color negative, slide film, all sorts of different styles for depending what you're looking for. Moving up, we've got medium format film, generally called 120 film. And this is a reel-to-reel format. Rather than just rewinding into the same canister, it wraps itself up on a second reel within the camera. So 120 film gives you a much bigger negative, but as such you only get anywhere between 10 and 16 shots per roll, and a roll is going to cost you anywhere between maybe $8 and $15. You're raising the stakes a fair bit because you're spending more money and you're getting less photos, but the negatives are huge, so you get these incredible images with this guy. Moving up one step even larger, we have large format. Large format, the film comes in boxes like this, and it's individual sheets. With large format, you shoot one sheet at a time, and you can develop it one at a time as well. So again, you've got black and white, you've got color negative, you've got slide film, all sorts of different styles for what you're looking for. And to shoot it, you actually have to load it into these film holders. This is a double-sided film holder, so you get 2 sheets, and you shoot them individually.
Action!
Alright, the cameras we're shooting today. Case number 1, this is our 35mm camera. Nikon FM2. Fully mechanical Japanese camera, classic Nikon F mount. So it takes a good variety of lenses that have been made over the last 50 years or so. With the FM2 here, we've got a good selection. We've got a wide lens, normal lens, and telephoto lens. So good choices for framing our subjects and whatnot. Medium format camera. The Pentax 6.7. So this thing's a beast. It shoots 6x7 negatives, so they're not completely square, they're a bit rectangular. 10 shots per roll of 120 film. And again, we have a good selection of lenses to go with this one. Wide, normal, and telephoto. Large format. Zone 6 camera. It's a 4x5 camera, so it shoots the 4x5 sheet film. Takes a bit to open. So with 4x5 or large format cameras, generally the use is actually in the lens rather than the camera. There's not too much operation here. You've got tilt and shift movements, rise and such. So you can do all sorts of things with the focal plane that you can't do with a standard camera. And with this Zone 6, or with this large format camera, you can mount any number of lenses. They just literally fit on a lens board that mounts to the front of the camera. So this one, we have a Nikon W series lens, and this is a slightly longer than normal lens, but a general purpose lens should serve us well.
Good.
Yeah, that's probably good.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
Alright, so now we're driving out to the west coast of Vancouver Island. Gonna take some film shots with those cameras you saw. What else is the plan?
I don't know, we're just driving, seeing where the road takes us. I don't know.
So we're on our way out to the coast, and we figured we'd load up the 35mm Nikon. So if you've never loaded a 35mm camera, we'll show you how to do that. So first step, open up the back of the camera. Here we go. You're going to pop the film on this side. Close that. So be really careful not to touch the shutter. This is the delicate curtain that lets the light in. And you're going to advance the film across. You're going to make sure that it locks into these little sprockets. And you're also going to try to, you may have to advance this. I'm going to try to feed it right into this little take-up spool here. Oh, actually, hold on. Try some. Once the film's fully engaged here, and you can tell it's not going to slip off, you can close the back and then fire the shutter a few times until the shot counter reads 1. Also, you want to make absolutely sure you're setting the proper ISO speed for your film, in which case this is Delta 100, so that the meter's going to be metering properly for the film we're using. So in medium format, we're going to shoot Velvia 50. It's a super high saturated slide film. It's got a huge following. People love the colors it produces. When you hold the stuff up to the light, you see like true colors, and it's phenomenal. So it's a low speed film. It's 50 ISO. So it means on a day like today, it's just super sunny. We'll be able to use this the most of its potential. So yeah, we'll show you how to load it in the Pentax 6.7. So you're probably supposed to do this in subdued light, but I think if we do it quickly, it should be fine. We're going to open up the back of the Pentax 6.7. There's a little release on the side. Open her up again. Careful not to touch the shutter. Make sure the 6.7 can take 120 film or 220, which is the same, but without all the paper backing. So just make sure you're on 120, which is this way. Also, there's a frame counter on the side. It's on 120. It says 120 here, so we're good to go. So first thing you got to do is make sure there's a spool on this side for taking up your film. So most of the time you have an old spool in this side, just switch it over. Because unlike 35mm, where you're rewinding it into the cartridge, this you're actually just taking it up onto a brand new spool. So that's locked in. I'm going to open this real quick. That's what it looked like, load in subdued light. Yeah, whatever. So make sure this is locked in on this side. Beauty. Bring it across again, careful not to touch that shutter. And then you might have to adjust this crank a bit, but feed this tab into the middle of the spool. Make sure it's centered, and then start taking it up. And you're going to crank it until the start line lines up with this little orange triangle, and that's for 120. You line up start with the orange triangle. If you're loading 220, you'd line it up there. So once we get there, close the back, and then crank until you reach frame 1. You shouldn't have to fire the shutter at all. It should just stop as soon as you get there, and you're locked and loaded, ready to fire your first exposure. Alright, so next camera we're going to shoot is the large format camera, the Zone 6. Because it doesn't have a meter, we're going to take a independent metering right here with the handheld light meter. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to shoot at 5.6, 60th of a second. Alright, so let's open up the large format camera and see how this thing works. So with the large format camera, you have your lenses mounted on lens boards, and then the lens boards just pop on the front. You can mount it pretty much anyway because it's square, but you want all the dials and operational stuff at the top. Makes it easier for you. Open the lens up. So loading the film on a large format camera, the film comes in boxes, and I can't show you how you get it from the boxes into the film magazine because the film magazine needs to be loaded in complete darkness. I loaded a whole bunch of film magazines last night in the basement, and this is one of them. This is 100 speed black and white film, which we'll shoot here, and I'll show you how that's done. When you decide you've got a shot you like on the large format camera, you inspect the ground glass with a loupe. Usually use a dark cloth to make sure you can see what you're doing, because in broad daylight the screen just there's too much reflection on it. Once that's all said and done, you close up the large format lens, you take your film magazine, either side. White usually denotes that you haven't shot it yet, that there's fresh film, and if it's black on this edge here, it's that you've got something that's been shot in there or it's empty. So you take your large format magazine and you slide it into the back here. With the lens closed, you're going to remove the dark slide, and assuming all your settings are dialed in, you're going to fire it. So. Just like that.